everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to the PHLY Flyers Pregame Show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey to get Coors Light delivered or to find a store near you. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your Director of Fun and Games for the evening. Joining me tonight, not only do we have Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle, but joining us from our sister station out in PHNX, part of the All-City Network family, it is Steve Peters. Petey, how are you tonight?
I'm doing really well. We were just comparing notes prior to the show on weather forecasts. Surprisingly enough, a little nicer here in the Phoenix metro area than it is in Philadelphia tonight for watching this Utah Hockey Club Flyer matchup.
It was like 56 and not 50 mile an hour winds today. So it was a
good day.
Pretty nice day here in Philly.
That's the worst day in Arizona, by the way, Bill. So just throwing it out there. That's okay.
Listen, we'll live. The Eagles won, so it's a good weather day. If they hadn't, the show might have been canceled. But it's the way it goes here. That's what affects our mood more than anything. So, Petey, you're here to help us preview the Utah Hockey Club. Obviously, it's a brand new team, but really it's the Arizona Coyotes. And that's the thing I really wanted to talk to you about first tonight is what's it like out there in the desert? Well, yes, beautiful weather. It's a nice time, seems like, out in Scottsdale and the whole Phoenix metro area. But, how are people feeling about this Utah team? It kind of seemed like the Yotes were building something, some good young pieces, and now rug pulled out suddenly. Is there a contingent of fans who are following them no matter what, like a Raiders Nation sort of thing, resentment? How's it going out there?
It's a third. It's a third followed them and are excited and are putting on the Utah sweater and putting on the Utah hat. A third of real anger. And I will not follow that team, and I really dislike that team. And then a third don't care and turn their attentions to other teams like the Vegas Golden Knights are nearby. Some people went to the ASU college team. So I think you've seen a little bit of a mix, and there are people that are angry. And we down here, we also have a show on the ALLCITY network that follows the Utah Hockey Club. And there are people that were really angry at Craig Morgan and I that followed along to Utah to talk about this team. But I think the deal is, like you've said, that the disappointment here is this team was just starting to show strides in Arizona. It's a rebuild in Arizona. They got some good young pieces. They were making their strides. They were getting closer to the playoffs. And it looked like, okay, put in all of this pain year after year after year. Now it's going to be good. And they leave. And you're starting to see a little bit of the fruits of the labor in Utah. They're better. There is no doubt they're better. And similar to where you guys are at in Philadelphia, that you can talk playoffs and you're playing meaningful games this time of year, just probably not quite there yet. And I think that's probably where Utah is in a similar fashion as where Philadelphia is right now.
Yeah, it's watching that kind of get built up out there. And it was, listen, we know what Arizona was. It wasn't the best team for a while, and that's why things kind of went the way they went, plus not the best management, not the best ownership for sure. And now suddenly, oh yeah, Logan Cooley, all these guys, people really like them. Yeah, it's just all gone. It just seems like it would be such a bitter disappointment. But here we are now. They don't have a name. They're just the Utah Hockey Club now, and we're going to Flyers are facing off with them for the very first time tonight. I think they're 11-11-4, right around Hockey 500, kind of right where the Flyers are in terms of scoring offense, little under 3 goals a game. But it's been up and down. How would you kind of categorize the team the way the team plays?
Yeah, it's funny because right out of the gate in Utah, the excitement, kind of like we saw in Seattle. Like when the team moves, everybody in the community, everybody in hockey was all about, oh, this is a shiny new toy. And Utah's on national TV. They're on ESPN. People are talking about them. And they were hot out of the gate. They played really, really well. And I think they kind of came back to earth on where they thought they would be. And then they got injuries. And they really kind of fell off. They got some injuries to some big players, John Marino, Sean Dursey. They just lost Maverick Lamoureux, 3 defensemen that they really can't afford to lose. This is a team that's going to pride on their defending, and then they all got hurt. Connor Ingram is now hurt, and he had a slow start in net for them. This team is about their young players and their young stars. And when you talk about their young players, for Philadelphia fans, this is tough. It's a West Coast team that you don't see play very often. You have no idea who these guys are, except maybe Clayton Keller. You heard of him because he's been an all-star year after year. And then Mikhail Sergachev. You heard of Sergachev coming from Tampa Bay, is now their number one defenseman, and he's been extremely good. He's going to eat 25 to 30 minutes every single night he plays, and he's been good. But this team is about their young players, and look out for the second line. If one line you need to watch out for as a Philadelphia Flyer fan tonight is Logan Cooley, number 92, Dylan Gunther, number 11, and McBain, number 22. These three guys, young, incredibly fast, incredibly talented and skilled. That line, when they're on the ice, they're a threat to score. And I think there's names that a lot of hockey fans don't really know yet. Get to the net hard, high skilled. And this Gunther, Dylan Gunther, skinny kid, just a small kid, dude can fire the puck. Like, he can beat a goalie clean from the top of the circle, and you go, what happened? So I think those are the big names up front that Flyers fans really need to be aware of.
It's funny. I was looking at just kind of their game log, getting a feel for the way the season's gone. And yeah, they've been shut out 5 times. Utah has. That's a lot. But if you take those games out, and I know you can't, but let's just say you could. Over 3.5 goals a game. Like, is the inconsistency just kind of, yeah, that's what young teams are. That's why, like, what does every coach say a young player needs? Consistency.
I think it's part of it. I think it's part of it, Bill, but one of the biggest problems this team was having is they couldn't get to the net. And I think you looked at after their 5th shutout. By the way, in Arizona, this team, it took 2 seasons to be shut out 5 times. Their last 2 last year and 3 the year prior. So that was a big deal. And that was in their first 19 games. The mandate came down to get to the net. And so you're going to see one of the other things. And I think Philadelphia defensemen are going to have their hands full, because this team surprisingly gets to the paint extremely well. You know, Lawson Krause, Nick Bugstead. We already talked about Jack McBain. They've got bigger bodies that will get to the net, and it's going to wreak havoc in front of the Flyer net. And that's what helped them score, because you look in their last 5 road games, they've got 5 or more goals in 3 of those. And this team can score when they get to the net. For Philadelphia, though, I know you'll be, especially after last night's Flyer game where you guys spent most of it in the penalty box. Utah takes more penalties than any team in the league. They're the most penalized team in the National Hockey League. They sit in the box at least 12 minutes a night. That could be a problem. Has been a problem night after night for this team all season. Their defensemen, with the injuries, they've had some. Hey, I like these guys. Ian Cole, Robert Bortuzzo. They've got guys that are a little longer in the tooth and a little bit challenged when it comes to the speed game. And so you're seeing hooking, slashing, interference penalties by their defensemen, and they're spending time in the box. So the Philadelphia Flyers power play, if that's good tonight, could be a difference, because for Utah, 5-on-5, surprisingly, this team's one of the best in the league, and people just don't know it. They're top 10 in 5-on-5 goal differential. So if you can play this game with them in the box, you have a much better chance to win.
The way the Flyers have been going, it's probably going to be a special teams game.
Can you imagine, Kelly?
A challenge accepted kind of situation.
Yeah, 3-on-3.
You take the most penalties? We'll see.
Exactly. It's going to be interesting, because the Flyers, last night it was so unfortunate, because those penalties, and I know John Tortorella, how upset he was at the penalties taken, but some of those, you look at them, and Bill and I talked about this before the show, I'm never like that with referees. You can't be, but you watch those and you go, really? Like, really, Charlie McAvoy? Like, really? That, like, you start to go, come on. Like, those were tough. If I'm a Flyer, I'm incredibly frustrated at the way that game finished, but still got a point. And the way the Flyers, they're tied for the last playoff spot right now. After some of the ups and downs they've had this season, great start for the Flyers.
No, it's been
go ahead, Bill. No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, it's been a crazy season, but if this is a power play game, well, that's what we want to see, because I've been calling Matvei Michkov the main character all year, Hinkle.
Yeah, so obviously we're obsessed with him. He's our favorite person in the entire world. From the outside, though, like, what is your perception of Matvei Michkov as a guy that probably doesn't watch a ton of Flyers games regularly? Like, is there a vibe that you get from him? Is there a sense that you get from him? Like, is the Matvei Michkov story as big outside of Philadelphia as it is?
Well, it is. It is. And I think his legend started to grow over the summer. And the first thing I said is he's going to help their power play, which he clearly has done. He's kind of solidified, hey, we all have spots now, which I think the juggling of the ping pong balls over the last several years in Philadelphia has been difficult on their power play. he's the guy. Everybody knows the puck's going to that right hand circle, and he's going to get a chance. So I think that's been his biggest improvement for this team. And he's also a scoring threat. Like he does have the speed through the middle of the ice. He can be a guy that can get lost in the offensive zone and make those plays down low below the goal line. Incredibly dangerous scoring threat. I think the biggest change for him has been his ability to play 200 feet. Now that's hard. It's a hard game, and this game is fast and defense driven. And I think he's been serviceable in the defensive end. Absolutely. I won't say he's been bad defensively, but think of him 2 years from now. The kid's 21 or 22. Like this kid is unbelievable right now. Like he is so much farther ahead than where I anticipated him to be in his first year in the NHL. I thought it was going to be difficult for him making that transition from the KHL. He's been everything as advertised, and I think you'll see Utah spending a lot of attention on him. I think you'll see the Bukestad line against him. I think they'll probably try to keep Keller and Schmaltz away from that line and try to get him matched up more with the top line, but we'll see.
All right, so thanks for joining us, Petey. Just one more here for you on the Coors Light pregame before we let you go. So you talked about some of the guys who've been living up to expectation. Is there anyone maybe who's flown under the radar for Utah this year, or anyone really falling short of expectation thus far?
Well, the biggest one was Nick Schmaltz. He's their highest paid forward on cash salary, no goals through 23 games. 0 for 23, playing on the top line, playing more power play minutes than any other forward but Clayton Keller. And in the last 3 games, he has 4 goals. So he has awoken. He was getting chances. He just wasn't putting them away. And you've seen that in Philadelphia with a lot of your top 6 forwards getting the chances, just not scoring. So keep an eye on him. And one other guy, really interesting, is the goaltender tonight. A kid named Jackson Stauber is going to get the start tonight. It's his second start in 2 years. Didn't play it all last year. All time, he's 6-1 in the NHL, including this season, a shutout, 29 saves against Vegas. Not sure what this kid is yet in Utah. He's played 1 game. He's been great in practice. Boy, he's going to get an opportunity tonight. I like him. He's a smaller guy, and small now in the NHL is 6'1". Yeah. But you're going to see him in the blue paint. You're going to see him steady. You're going to see him square. I think he's another guy that's going to be really interesting tonight to see how he can handle the pressure of this Philadelphia Flyer team that gets to the blue paint really well, especially like Couturier could be a big pain in the rear end for Jackson Stauber tonight.
Petey, thanks so much. I'm glad you brought up Stauber, too, because I saw that story. I think Craig Morgan put it out the other day, and it was really cool to read about just what he's gone through to kind of get to this point and get that first shutout the other night. Petey, thank you so much for joining us. I hope we get to do a lot more in the future. You've been great. Thank you so much.
Can't wait, guys. Kelly, nice to meet you. Bill?
You too.
And we will see you guys very, very soon, I'm sure. Thanks. Have a good game tonight. Have fun.
Absolutely. Take it easy. That was Steve Peters, Peters Hockey on Twitter. He's with our PHNX affiliate, does all sorts of stuff. I think it was K-Red said he's a regular guest on Chaos. He does stuff all throughout the ALLCITY network, video breakdowns. We're going to be utilizing him a lot soon. We wanted to get to it a lot sooner, but you know how it goes when Bill's in charge of stuff? You just kind of never happens. Kelly, this is why you were in charge of BSH Radio, and now here I am. I got to do it. But
this reminded me. This reminded me of the old BSH pregames. It's fun talking to somebody else from the other team. You know what I mean? Because what do I know about the Utah Hockey Club?
I always have usually the last topic, like for the last 5 minutes, like, okay, let's talk about the other team. And it's all right. I watched a game or 2 of theirs. Like, how much do I really have? I can look up the box scores, but way better to hear it straight from Petey himself. But now we can get to our Philadelphia Flyers, Henkel. You were not on the show yesterday, so you didn't get a chance to react to what was a ridiculous game once again.
It was just so frustrating because like Petey said, and like you guys said, like, you don't want to be the person complaining about the refs, but like, it was egregious in this game. Like, it was out of control, and it really did. Now, to be fair, the Flyers did do the things that put them in the position to be called for those things. Like, they were getting lazy. They were doing too much with their stick. Like, they could have avoided it had they just been playing better. But it really would have been nice to see the Flyers win that game because they were outplaying the Bruins for long stretches, and winning 2 in Boston after never winning there ever would have been really cool. But on to the next
And
one, I
that
guess.
was honestly, like, that was kind of my biggest takeaway. Like, there were some like, oh yeah, Charlie McAvoy, one of the toughest, strongest guys in the league. He just went down that easy. Okay, sure. But like, it was really just a lot of the calls the Flyers didn't get, like the trip on Sealer, the spear on, I think it was Zamula that set up the 3-2 goal. Like, it's just like, if this was even, I wouldn't have a problem. But I honestly just don't believe sports were ever meant to be seen in high definition. Turns out referees are bad. Everything is an area play. Everyone's guessing. And now that we have like 4K, it's like, oh, look, you missed that. Like, but like,
well,
but you can do the referee thing every game, I guess.
I know. It was just annoying because like I feel like you can get over the bad calls if they do the game management thing where they even it up because they know that they screwed up, but they weren't even doing that. Like they were just like, nah.
This is the NHL. We've come to expect like power plays will not be 6-1 or 6-2. Like, that's just not the way it's going to go. And it is. What did you make of Torts' comments to teach them to dive and all that stuff? Because I thought that was Torts' masterclass. Just like, guess what? Everyone's looking at him now, not the team that just blew 2 straight leads.
Exactly. I love a spicy John Tortorella meatball press conference. Like, it's just, it's him in his element. And you're exactly right. He knows exactly when to put the spotlight onto himself and not onto the team, because I'm sure that he knows more than anybody that, like, while the Flyers did kind of do this to themselves, they weren't being helped at all by the refs, and they kind of got the short end of the stick, so to say. So, Torts gonna Torts. I enjoyed it.
And that brings us to tonight's lineup, Kelly. And we, for the first time in a long time, it was funny. We had Petey tonight, and it's like, oh, there's actually a lot of pregame stuff to talk about. Sometimes we're just kind of looking for things because, lineup's the same. But tonight we actually have some things that have changed in the lineup. A couple of guys activated off injured reserve. Sam Ersson gets the start tonight. It will be Ersson, and Jamie Drysdale makes his long-awaited return as well. Zamula comes out. Fedotov is scratched. Kolosov is your backup tonight. What are you looking to see out of really, like, Sam Ersson? Maybe it takes him a little bit to get going, but I think I kind of know what to expect out of him. But we haven't seen Drysdale in a while. It wasn't going great prior to him getting hurt.
Nope.
What are you looking for out of Drysdale?
I mean, I don't want to expect a lot from a guy that hasn't played in quite a while. I think it's kind of silly to expect that he's going to hit the ice in his first game back after what seems like 7 years and just, be outstanding. He's probably going to struggle a little bit. I just hope we don't see any of like the huge glaring mental errors that he seemed to be prone to making prior to the injury. Like, I would just like to see a steady game from Jamie Drysdale. I think that's probably the best that we can expect from a guy that's been out so long. Ersson, I'm kind of really curious because they said it wasn't a serious injury, but he was out for such a long time. And I understand that there was probably a little bit of gameplay there because they wanted to see as much as they possibly could from Fedotov and Kolosov, but he's got to be rusty, right? So like, you have to think that if he can stop like the first 5 really good chances that Utah throws at him, like, maybe we'll see something good from him. But I mean, like, honestly, there is a real good chance that we see like the real bad Sam Ersson that we saw kind of at the start of our journey with him, just because he's rusty and cold and hasn't played a game in a long time. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
I am interested to see like exactly where he is in the recovery process, because we talked about earlier this week, I think Charlie and I on, was it Thursday, like maybe they just wanted to build him up a little. They hadn't activated him off IR yet, but he's been day-to-day for weeks, so he's been practicing, so maybe he's a little further along, and they were just trying to get him a few more reps. But we'll see. It's definitely a question. Tough to know what to expect, from a goalie who's played 2 games in like over a month. He came back for those 2 games and then went right back out again. And that's really the only action he's had. I think he got hurt initially on November 2nd. So it has been a while, Hinkle. And now you're going to love this. It is
boy.
time.
Oh, no.
It is time for the pregame bets. That's right. This pregame pick segment is brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Couple of bets tonight, Kelly, and we're going to start. We're going to start with old reliable Joel Farabee over 2.5 shots on goal. They're giving us plus 150 again. As long as they're giving me plus money on Farabee, I think it's 6 or 7 straight games. He's had at least 3 shots on goal. Yeah, 7 straight games with at least 3 shots on goal. 35 attempts in that time. He came through. He got that overtime breakaway yesterday. That was shot number 3. He didn't score, but he came through for those of us. He came through for those of us that bet his shot total. He hasn't scored a goal in 12 straight, so you know he's going to want to get it going. He's going to keep putting pucks on net. I thought it was pretty obvious. His teammates, especially Coots, were looking for him on Saturday. So I think he's going to get more opportunities. It's funny. I checked out Natural Stat Trick this morning. He leads the team with a 3.22 individual expected goals over the last 7 games. He's number one. He's expected to score more than anyone over the last 7 games.
That's wild.
He has not.
He has not done it.
He has not. So it's been absolutely ridiculous. I was thinking about a Farabee goal, but I'm not Neil Stradamus, so I'm not going with it. And this is the one I think you're going to love. Tie through regulation on the 3-way line, tie on the money line, plus 300. 11 of the Flyers' 27 games and 9 of the last 14 have gone to overtime. Utah's played a decent number as well, 8 out of 26. Now, part of it is, Flyers just don't play normal games. They play dramatic endings. It's always a 1-goal game. They go to overtime a lot. Also, tomorrow is Matvei Michkov's 20th birthday. So if he is going to break the rookie overtime goal record, or the teenage overtime goal record that he is tied with Sidney Crosby, Ilya Kovalchuk, and Rick Nash, tonight is his last chance to do it, Kelly.
No.
I want him to get that chance. So we're going to bet him.
So do I.
We're going to bet plus 300 to end to tie in regulation.
I gotta get up so early tomorrow, Bill.
I'm sorry, Hinkle. I'm sorry. I know that you signed up for the wrong day, and
I will sacrifice my well-being for Matvei Michkov.
I think we all would.
Yeah,
all right, and that's what I want to get to next here with Mish is the just taking a look at the this little table somebody tweeted out earlier, and it's points per 60, which is something I was talking about with Charlie yesterday. Like 3 straight games of 2+ points for Mish. All games under 15 minutes. And he's been absolutely on fire in these games. And you look at these points per 60 for teenagers since 07-08. They're all superstars. It's
they sure
2
are.
Connor McDavid seasons, a Stamkos season. Matthews is in there, and then right there between Matthews and Stamkos is Matvei Michkov. It's absolutely unbelievable, which leads to the gripe a lot of people are having, Hinks. Why not play him more?
So here's the thing. We've seen him struggle when the minutes get to be too much, when the games are too close together, when he plays a whole lot. We've seen him kind of dip as far as production goes. So I'm okay with the managing of Matvei Michkov so far. It seems to be working. And the fact of the matter is he's doing as much in 17 minutes as Steven Stamkos did in 20. Yeah. Although that's not really how math works.
Well, it is.
Anywho,
yeah.
What I'm seeing here is that Michkov is better than Austin Matthews.
That's what I'm seeing. Yeah.
Confirmed.
No, it is. Because we've talked about, listen, maybe he's not in, and it's not like a knock on his conditioning, just so not used to the grind of the NHL.
Yeah.
He's more than halfway to his game total from all of last season in the KHL. And if you haven't noticed, little bit different of a game. Like we talk about the differences for the Russian goalies and how they're having an adjustment to all the traffic, guys in your face. Like watch that Boston game.
Right.
It's a tough game for grown-ass men, and this is a 19-year-old and is, tonight is what, game 26 of his career? It's an adjustment, and yesterday especially, like it's the front end of a back-to-back. You want to have something in the tank for today, and honestly, maybe not the worst thing in the world, because you look at Michkov in the back ends of back-to-backs. This is his 5th back-to-back. In his previous 4, it was the second game of the season in Vancouver. No goals, 1 assist. He had that back-to-back against Washington. The second one was the 2.1 goal, 1 assist game. Montreal on 10/27 was his only pointless back-to-back. And then, of course, the last one was St. Louis following the Rangers game. That's the goal and an assist, the overtime winner against Binnington. He's been good in these situations, so maybe monitoring his minutes a little bit and just kind of not giving him the 20 minutes that Sean Couturier and Travis Konechny are getting. Like, Konechny led all forwards in ice time yesterday, and he didn't play in the third period. Like, he didn't play. He played like a minute and a half or something in the third period. Like, maybe he just doesn't need those minutes yet, and it's something to build towards. It's just another goal for him. Hey, when you show us X, we will give you Y. I don't know the exact reasoning for it, but I don't know if it's the end of the world. Now, through 40 minutes yesterday, it was like he had the second fewest minutes. No, that's bad. Bad, John. But, like, if he's in the middle 6, I can't be nuts. One thing the Flyers need to do is stay out of the box because he doesn't kill penalties. Like, that's the thing about yesterday is you're on the penalty kill 6 times. Like, what? You just want to put him out there? Like, they get scored on.
And I know Charlie mentioned it in your post game yesterday that the problem really isn't Michkov's minutes. It's that he's playing with Morgan Frost and John Tortorella hates him. So Morgan Frost can't have any minutes, which means that Michkov can't have any minutes, which is a problem they're gonna have to solve at some point. Like, we can't staple the superstar to the bench because you don't like Morgan Frost. Like, that's not gonna work long term. For me, it's more like manage his minutes, but also put him out there when he should be out there. Like, he should be playing 4.5 minutes in an overtime. You know what I mean? Like, he should be out there the whole time. Like, he should be out there for a minute and a half on the power play. Yeah, like use him where he's going to get you the maximum return and then manage his minutes elsewhere. But like sometimes in an overtime, I'm like, why am I looking at these players when Michkov is there and he just wins overtimes? Like, that's what he does. So, you know, give me that.
He's got 3. And that's where I kind of want to wrap up with today. First thing I got to tell you about, you look at this rookie scoring race, and it's NHL.com still hasn't updated, which is really pissing me off. But Lane Hudson is in second place. And maybe you want to see these two.
He was in first place.
Yeah, maybe Matvei Michkov still holding down first. Maybe you want to see these two go head-to-head. Maybe it'll be at the end of the season. Maybe it's to determine the Calder Trophy, Kelly. Well, you can do it with PHLY and Philly Sports Trips. Go to allphly.com right now. Click that events tab, and you can find this road trip we're taking to Montreal, April 4th to the 7th. A whole bunch of different packages, different price points, but you have the options for round-trip airfare. You have options for the hotel, for game tickets, all sorts of stuff. There's going to be an all-inclusive tailgate. Brian Prop's going to be there. Kelly Hinkle's going to be there. Charlie O'Connor's going to be there. I'll be there. It is going to be so much fun. If you want to just knock Christmas out of the park for the Flyers fan in your life, I mean, come on. What better way to do it than hockey in, like, the birthplace, right? It's Les Habitants. Like, let's go.
I'm so excited to see a hockey game in Montreal. I cannot begin to tell you.
It's
like so excited.
Listen, hate the Habs, but like it's Montreal.
I respect what's happening there.
Yes, very much want to see what's going on over there. Yes. All right, I believe we have one super chat before we get out of here, Hinkle. It's from Gary B. It says Flyers continue to be never ordinary in life or as a franchise. Joel Farabee pots 1 tonight. Okay,
Stradamus.
Gary did get in the Thursday show, he got the 2 goals for Mish against Boston. So, Gary, he thinks Joel Farabee finally breaks
I like
the goal drought tonight. So perhaps he does. But that will do it for us. We'll be back with post game immediately following tonight. So make sure you're right here on the YouTube for that. Charlie's down at the press box at the Wells Fargo Center. He'll be joining us. Until then, my name is Bill Matz. That's Kelly Hinkle. This has been the PHLY Flyers pregame show brought to you by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY hockey to get Coors Light delivered or to find a store near you. Let's go Flyers.